Welcome back to another Travels of Red Rover. This week, Corinne and I are at Cape Blanco, facing down the rain and the wind.
Well, it's another windy and rainy day on the Oregon coast. We've decided to take a drive south from Bandon Beach and do a little day trip out to Cape Blanco, which has a lighthouse. And we rolled up. It was still raining and blowing, but we're getting a little bit of break in the rain. It's only a light rain now, and the winds are still strong. We had about a quarter-mile walk from the parking lot over to the lighthouse. Shawn's gonna do a different setup down closer to the van. So I'm going to film some video and do some photography up here closer to the lighthouse. So we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping a little bit of sun will break out from behind the clouds and give us a little slight glow on the lighthouse, maybe with some stormy clouds behind. We'll see how that goes. So my first setup is slightly downslope of the lighthouse. This lighthouse is set up on a big promontory, but it's hard to get the lighthouse with any of the water from this location because it's quite high up on a cliff. So I'm downslope closer to the parking lot and shooting up toward the lighthouse, which is there behind me in the background. And I'm just getting some subtle light coming through some clouds, giving it a nice little glow on one side. So I'm happy with that. What I'm hoping is that with the polarizer on, I can improve some of the cloud definition behind the lighthouse. It looks a little bit washed out right now, so I'm going to take a slightly lower exposure so the sky's not too bright, and hopefully with the polarizer I can get a little bit of blue sky. Might hang out here and see if there's an opening or two that creates in the cloud and brings more distinct lines between blue sky and cloud. My settings are straightforward: f/16, ISO 100, aperture priority, and as I mentioned, I have a polarizer on. I've come around to the other side of the lighthouse, and there's just a little bit of water that's visible past the lighthouse tower from this angle. So I'm hoping that'll show up a bit in my picture. I've switched to portrait orientation, and I've also found on this side that I can see a little bit more breaks in the clouds in the distance past the lighthouse. So I'm hoping that will give it a little bit more distinct sky rather than just a mass of white. Similar settings, and I might end up doing a little bit more cropping on this to crop out some of the vegetation on the sides. I've tried to zoom in a bit and eliminate some of the vegetation that was creeping in the side of the frame already.
and Mary have decided to walk up to the lighthouse to do something that's a little closer to the lighthouse. I've decided to try something different. I photographed this lighthouse a couple times. It's not one of my favorite because you can't actually see the water in the lighthouse at the same time. Plus there's all kinds of electrical structures and telephone poles and things of that sort in the way. So I decided to go way back and see if I can take a shot that's just the lighthouse and trees. Unfortunately, we have just an absolutely terrible day for this. In fact, if I'm going to make this work, I'm probably going to have to break out my filters and see if I can bring down the sky a little bit, because it is just very, very it's flat gray behind the lighthouse, and there's a bit of light kind of hitting the back left side as we're looking at the lighthouse. So I don't know if I'm going to be successful. I'm going to try a couple of photographs, but I have very low expectations. So the light on the lighthouse has gotten quite a bit better because the sun has just broken through the clouds a little bit more. But at this point it is so windy, it's hard to keep the camera and myself all sitting here on this little ridge that I'm on. The ridge has a big overhang right now, and so I have to stay way back from that. Otherwise, I suspect my weight with this wet weather and everything else, I could just be enough to take it over the top. Well, it's another cold, windy day out here on the Oregon coast, and we're getting a little bit of sunshine right now, or at least a little brighter conditions. So I'm trying to hang in there with the camera. One of the things I've done is I've set it up so that I've got a much higher shutter speed, hopefully high enough to overcome the wind rattling against the lens. I don't know whether I'll achieve that or not, but that's what I've got to do. Otherwise, it'll be blurry as a result of wind rattling the long lens. So I've come back to the truck. Corinne is still out at the lighthouse, and I don't know when she'll be back. But I decided I'd had enough of the wind and the rain, and the wind trying to knock me off the top of my little perch. Probably getting a lot of shots with camera shake in them, and I just had enough of that. So I'm back at the truck, and I'm going to make myself a cup of tea and just enjoy being back in a nice, warm, wind-free zone.
Corinne and I sure hope you enjoyed this short video. If you did, please give us a thumbs up. If you'd like to keep track of us, hit that subscribe button. And as always, if you want to know when we release videos, hit that bell button. And as always, don't hesitate to leave us a comment, thought, or an idea. We love hearing from you, and we respond to all the comments. Take care, and bye for now.